Hello, Quint. You're here for the yapping. Oh, you're in the right place. I'm happy that this has been updated. Can I still see this? Huh. Okay. Let me go make some tea and then we're gonna start. Okay. Hello, everybody. Do, 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 do. Okay, let's see. Here's my app for the day. I've been talking aloud to people who used to blog open source projects, yeah, but a lot have stopped. The main reason is just people have no shame in copy it, pipe it through AI, and claim it as their own. Same for actual companies, by the way. Not sure whether this has always been an issue or is just surfaces more lately. I think that some of that probably has always happened, but of course, AI changes the cost equation, so it makes this stuff much more easily. I mean, if you want to be cynical about it, that's essentially what AI is, regardless. Like that, the AI is piping stuff that other people made through AI, and then being able to claim that the output on the other side is your own. That being said, I'm saying this mostly as a joke. I don't care, but um yeah, if before there was like some bar that you had to be able to clear to be able to make a project, have people use it, or rather like make it look like it's a serious project. Now that threshold is much easier, that bar is much easier to clear than before, and so you have a bajillion half-assed projects that can look like they are uh, more serious than they actually are. Yeah, I don't know. From that perspective, it is weirdly depressing time for software engineering. Um, Personally, what amazes me is that like AI is a genuinely cool tech. If you had shown me what that one of these things could be made, you know, going back, I don't know, 20 years from now, you would have blown my fucking mind open. Um, and yet somehow, despite all of this being true, in my opinion, somehow the big tech industrial complex was able to take something that interesting and turn it into something fucking disgusting and annoying all the time. I don't know. It's what a time to be alive, man. When what was the thing that is it the Greek that used to say it? Like as a curse, may you live in interesting times. We certainly do live in interesting times from multiple perspectives, but even just looking at what's going on in tech, those are certainly interesting times. So, um, yeah, what a time. Okay, so tea is brewing should be ready in a moment. So I'm gonna be able soon uh to go get my cup, and then we can start. Hello, so delicious. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Do. Hello, Reese. You've been offline for a while. Yes. Did I miss something? Were you ill or just other things to do? I would say you didn't miss much. I was ill. Yes. I was ill for like 2+ weeks. In any case, I'm all better now. And I think, well, and then I also had other things to do, but yeah, a good chunk of time was because I wasn't feeling good. I got strep throat, so like bacterial pharyngitis. In any case, yeah. I studied AI neural networks in university way before this stuff. The tech is one thing, but inside effect is having on people in the world is something else. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how it was presented to you in university, but in my university, neural nets were not really considered uh, all that useful at the end of the day when compared to other statistical tools like support vector machines and decision trees and whatnot. So I don't know, they were just a thing. I think that you know the new techniques that um, are employed in the new neural networks are definitely interesting things. Um, and it's kind of a shame that those genuinely interesting things somehow then when they get to you turn into endless sloppy PRs, people faking, making crappy projects and trying to pass them as serious. Um, some people like going legitimately insane with AI. Like there was this guy that I mentioned in the blog post that we received at some point a an insane 10,000 lines long PR, and like to me it seems like that person was having a manic episode, like an AI fueled manic episode where they were like, I think they should have been diagnosed clinically because that was not how a sane person would behave, in my opinion. Hello, Algo. Hello, hello. Hope you're doing great. I am, thank you. I am doing fine, yes. So, okay, setting that aside, I don't know. If anybody, I'm assuming that people have read the blog post, or if you haven't, I mean, you know what? You kind of probably know where to find it. I'll just link it once on Twitch for convenience. But I'm happy to take questions. In the meantime, I have a bunch of translate C regressions to report. I want to make sure they are present in the issue tracker because I plan then to go and bug Veka and have him teach me how you fix at least some of those. Because, for example, one issue that we have with Translate C, because we switched from using Clang to using ROCC, so Veka's compiler, plus Translate C, I think, has its own extra machinery on top. So, in any case, we're switching away from Clang, and some things have regressed. And one of those is, for example, the like built-in definition, some built-in definitions that you get from the compiler automatically. Like, for example, you know, Clang has its own, GCC has its own. Some of those are like architecture dependent, OS dependent, that kind of stuff. And for example, I don't know where to find where the authoritative list of what these things should be is. I fear there might not be an authoritative list, but at least there should be like, you know, some kind of process that I'm imagining Veka has discovered on how to tackle these problems. The do live session, I don't know, not today for sure. We didn't organize anything. Yeah. In any case, as I was saying, if anybody in the meantime has any question about contributor poker, yeah, feel free to ask. Or go and dive if you instead you like diving into sewer water, go on Hacker News and go read the comments there. Like there are some the initial comments make sense on HN, but then there's like these. I was looking at there's a way in which you can see like all the newest comments coming in, and I was looking at it, and it's just like a stream of people arguing with one another about things that make no sense, that have no relevance, and they're just like nitpicking at each other's comments. I don't know. Uh, I bet it feels interesting to have a 500 billion slop factory fork, fork Zig, and inside a slop demon onto it. So the button fork, some people thought that this was like a reply to the button fork, but I mean it's not really. I did not intend for it to be this way, and also I had a draft of this blog post in Obsidian for months. It might even be more than a year. I'm not 100% sure because I don't remember precisely, but I suspect, you know what? I can tell you that I started thinking, and maybe I didn't have a draft, but I started thinking about writing this blog post even before AI exploded. So, like the original draft that I had in mind, I don't think I ever put it down to words, but the original draft that I had in mind was just an explanation of what contributor poker is without any AI angle to it, which is funny. That being said, uh, that being said, well, on one end, I think that you know, as long as the fork is buns rather than anthropics, and I say like, I mean this more specifically with regards to the fact that the actual fork is under the OpenSH organization, is not under Anthropic. They are clearly not meaning to make it something that they want other people to use. The README is for like if you go and look at the README that they have tells you how to build the project. They don't. they don't even explain. They in their fork they also have changed syntax. What the fuck is going on YouTube, man? So they don't even explain the new syntax. So I think that ultimately, I mean, they're doing it for themselves. That's kind of what AI is, right? At its best. Like you want something for yourself, you tell the clanker to do it, then the clanker does it. And yeah, so from that aspect, I don't know, it's fine. Hey Amy, hello, welcome. You did indeed. So the program for today is reporting some translate C regressions and yapping about contributor poker and related topics in the meantime. So long story short, to continue to finish answering to this comment, ultimately they're doing it for themselves. So like fine, whatever. Uh, that's fine for them. I think I would be more. I think we would be more annoyed and spooked if they decided to do something, trying to popularize it as an alternative to Zig. That would be bad. That would be super bad. That would be definitely $500 billion bad. Um, but it doesn't seem to be what they want to do. And I think I don't know how they reason, but it doesn't seem to be something that makes much sense for them to do. Like I don't think it would help any of their business goals. Um, as for and one last thing that I have to say on the subject is that um, I do think that Ban unfortunately has always chosen the path that made it hardest for them to use Zig effectively. Some of it might be not entirely up to them. Some of it is might just be the nature of what they were doing. But I do think that in part, as a company, Bun has chosen to do things in a way that make it harder for them to use it well. And so, for example, uh, the reason why they did this is because they wanted faster compilation times. But you can have fast compilation times with Zig with incremental compilation. But for example, they have been locked out of incremental compilation for a long time because they were using a keyword using namespace um, that was deprecated and then removed in the language a long time ago at this point. And even though it was always made perfectly clear, even before the keyword was removed, uh, we always try to make it clear that you were not supposed to use using namespace, that we were going to delete it, that it was um, meant to be used in a certain way, which is not the way that they were using it. They were using it for making mixins, while using namespace, like using namespace was already in its original incarnation designed to be crappy for making mixins. Unfortunately, that did not stop them. They were still using it to making mixins, even though it was explicitly designed to not even be really good at that. Um, and so there was a bad employee who you know what I haven't seen the whole comment history, so I'm like, maybe this was not exactly necessarily one hero's story, but at the very least there was one person that I know of working at Ban that did put a lot of effort into uh, upgrading their code base so that it could so that they could start using newer versions of Zig, which would enable incremental. Um, isn't they locked out mainly because of R64 plus macOS dev machines? Yeah, that was definitely part of it. So the original problem was that they were using namespace, and using namespace was always problematic with regards to incremental compilation, and that is why it was removed from the language, or at least one reason why. Then this person did a lot of work to, also maybe with the help of others, to upgrade the band code base to stop using namespace, at which point they had the ability to use incremental. And yes, at that point, I believe that they still had the problem that their dev machines were ARM, and our custom backends, the most complete custom backend is Arch64. Is x86-64, not Arch64. And so, yeah, that was an issue. Although, there's a way in which you can somewhat bypass this problem, because on if you have Rosetta installed on your Mac machine, you can build for x86-64, and then you just run the executable through Rosetta. Obviously, it's not optimal, but it's somewhat seamless, because Rosetta, like, once you have Rosetta installed, the moment that you try to execute an x86-64 executable, it just kicks in automatically. So yeah. That being said, yeah, incremental has not been perfect. But still, whatever gain they got from their work, which also adds bugs to what they have, like the gains that they get from that, I believe, are in any case much smaller than the gains that they would get from incremental. So long story short, I don't know what happened with the effort to get incremental, or rather, I'm not going to go too much into detail into like the internal baseball or what's going on at companies. But you know what? Especially considering since now Bun is not a company anymore, it's just an appendage of Anthropic. What I do know is that, if I remember correctly, essentially the effort that this person was pushing forward was not, I suspect, prioritized as much as, in my opinion, it should have been. And so this person left the company, and I don't know what happened at that point, but if I had to make an educated guess as an external observer, essentially the impetus to try and make incremental compilation work kind of died there. That's usually what happens at companies when the champion of a given thing leaves for one reason or another. And so probably that's what happened. At the same time, I think that if they had been more interested in, for example, working with us, we probably could have tried to unblock them if, for example, they were encountering a particular miscompletion with incremental. Like, obviously, if the backend is not there and it takes time to do the whole backend, having Bun report a specific failure or like missing feature in the custom backend, it's not going to make us automatically pump out a fully functioning backend by the next day. But still, it's obviously also in our interest to try and have projects, especially big projects, use these successfully. Not allowing AI usage from contributors makes sense, as explained in the blog post, but what about AI usage by core team members? I.e., how Mitchell is using AI for Ghosty. The answer is that we do not have a policy in place for that at the moment. And I understand that, if you're just looking at the arguments brought up in the contributor Poker blog post, yeah, you could assume that could be like a reasonable way forward. But the thing is that we have not come to a conclusion. So we don't have a policy for what exactly would it look like to accept AI contributions. And it is not obvious that we should accept AI contributions in the first place. There are downsides to opening the project to AI contributions. I mentioned this in the on Zigit, so I'll repeat it for the people here who don't visit Zigit. But to give an example, there are, for example, branding concerns. So it is one thing for you to use Zig, hit a miscompilation, and then see that yes, you hit a miscompilation, but you're using a V0 project. So a project that it has these issues, and we're not hiding it from you. Obviously, we're doing our best, but it takes time to reach stability. I think it is different if you hit a miscompilation and then you see that Zig is a bytecoded project. I think that it would be reasonable for users at that point to suspect, maybe conclude, that Zig is slop. And so now you have to deal with this. And like the moment that you say yes to AI contributions, essentially you open the door to this. And that is a thing that you can't walk back. Like you can at some point say, you know what, we have allowed AI contributions for a while, but for whatever reason we have now concluded that we don't want to do that anymore. Obviously, you can do that, but the reputational hit that you've taken, that's not going away. So, long story short, it is not a given that we want AI contributions once you go past contributor poker. And by the way, this is just one argument. There's obviously more. There's a variety of arguments. So I think like we would need to hash all of those out. And so I'm not speaking in official capacity because, as I said, in like officially, we just do not have a policy with regards to AI. But my impression is that I don't think that the core team is particularly interested in allowing AI contributions. Some of it's because of personal dispositions, like personal opinions of people using AI, honestly, including me. But part of it, I think, is also because given the business that we're in, like given the thing that we want Zig to be, branding that I mentioned earlier is part of it. You don't want people to think that you're the slop miscompilation programming language, right? We want to be honest with regards to the fact that Zig is not mature, it's not complete, it's a work in progress thing. But that's one thing. Another thing is being considered the non-serious programming language where everything is sloppy. So you want to avoid that. But also in terms of, so that would be like in terms of goals, but also in terms of process, I'm not sure they would even be able to fully capitalize on what LLMs can do. Given how things work nowadays. Again, obviously you could say, well, but yeah, you just need to change the ways that you do things to accommodate for LLMs. Sure, fair, obviously. But I think all in all, at the very least, it's definitely not an obvious thing that we should allow AI contributions today. Maybe things will change in the future, in a variety of ways. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow, you know what? Maybe the absolutely amazing new model that Anthropic has made, that it's so good that I cannot risk giving it out to anybody else. Just like they could not risk to give out, what was it, like the first version of Cloud that by now we consider to be, I don't know, mediocre, compared to where the models have gotten to nowadays. Maybe that one will be so good that there is just no way you can say no to it. And so I don't know, I'll have to change opinion or something. But I don't know. I think AI code is like DNA. It starts with coding, and the code base gets more mature and involved. Some of the DNA is no longer coding. Now add more generations, and you'll get massive issues. Um, even while being, even if you were to be more optimistic about this, like if you were to assume that no, AI doesn't do, is not like this corruptive. Um, there is still the genuine problem that we are not just building a product, but we're also building a community. And so there are some values that you want to make sure that the community keeps embodying and keeps thinking about and keeps considering important. And I do believe that it is much easier to sleep when it comes to when using LLMs. So again, just a general vague argument. I'm not doing any decision making. As I said, the official answer is we do not have a policy for accepting AI content because currently the one thing that we know for a fact that we have full agreement on and everybody is on the exact same page on is the fact that contributor poker is vital to the Zig project. Anything that hurts contributor poker is not good, and we need to avoid it. Otherwise, we are literally killing the Zig project. So that part we do know for a fact. Everything else, it's based on opinions, hunches, semi half formed ideas. We'll see. Also, another thing that I think is important to point out compared to how I see people discuss things is that a lot of what really gives shape to our current policy and our decision making is the actual concrete situation that we are in. Like these arguments are based on empirical evidence and experience with triaging PRs, observing people's behavior, and observing outcomes over an extended period of time. If you just look at this thing from like first principles, you can make up any kind of argument. There's one guy on Lobsters that kept arguing that, in his opinion, we are actually throwing away a huge amount of value because, in theory, there could be some super giga mega power skilled LLM user who can do amazing things and is also perfect at hiding the fact that they're using LLMs. And so this person is somebody who, not only perfect at hiding, but like this person is just the ultimate LLM user. And so we are potentially pushing this person away. Sorry, not this person, because by saying this person means that there's one of these guys. No, according to this other commenter on Lobsters, there's actually a ton of these people. And so we are just pushing them away with the policy. And so we are actually leaving on the plate a lot more value than what we are getting back. But I mean, even though you can entertain the argument on a theoretical level, I would bet every single penny that I have on the fact that if you were to do this, you would fucking suicide the Zig project instantly, because that is, while theoretically that could be the case, and while my understanding of things is not going to be perfect, we have biases and whatnot, I find it to be so low probability that what this person says is actually the case that it just does not match at all with my understanding of our reality. So what I'm saying is that I think that the same principle applies also to other policy, to other decision making regarding AI, and also obviously not only regarding AI. So if we were to make a policy, if we were to update our policy, well, let's say add more policies where we decide that we start allowing AI contributions and whatnot, it's not a discussion that you should have based on first principles. It's a discussion that you should have based on more concrete details of how things work in the Zig project, either both internally and when it comes to the type of contributors that we attract, etc., etc. So, yeah. Let's see. Hi, Larissa. Resonate with contributor poker. The effects of AI are not just in contributions. I love Zig and created a small .m parser for it. Nice. When I presented it, people just assumed it was AI. It is not. And the moderator of Reddit even said on their own that they would ban AI generated project. Yeah, about that. That is another problematic thing, right? Because now there's like an adversarial relationship between people that want to promote their projects in places where they can promote their projects that wasn't there before. Or rather, the relationship was always, at least in part, adversarial, because obviously people could try to push projects that are like just crap, even without AI, or they could be viruses, trojans, like malware of some kind, or they could be trying to push for they could try to do guerrilla marketing where they are essentially using your platform to advertise their paid product. So that was always there, and that is still there. But then now on top you have a bajillion slop projects that come out of that sprout out of the ground in one night, like mushrooms, and the people that make these projects are not always serious. And considering the fact that they have to put essentially very little effort into getting these projects up to a place where they seem serious. So now owners of spaces like Reddit, they have to be more aggressive with regards to those things. I'm sorry, I don't have a solution. So, or rather, let me put it this way, just to give you more context. I don't moderate Reddit. I know who the moderator of Reddit is, but I am not a moderator. I don't even have a Reddit account anymore. So in general, moderation decisions that people make on their space, it's on them. I can talk to these people sometimes, but ultimately, it's not something that I have a direct hand on. What I would say is there's also other spaces. Consider sharing your stuff on Ziggit. And if people end up concluding that your stuff is AI also there, I don't know. I can't control people. So I don't know. It's an artifact of the times that we're in. Which, by the way, I do think it's yet another reason that these times are kind of depressing. I think people were mentioning this also earlier, right? Was it Quint that had a pet peeve about this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I agree that making projects and writing posts now feels less rewarding than it was in the past, because you both have to fight a higher level of noise because of constant AI blog posts, AI projects. So there's this constant noise and garbage going on. And then also you make an earnest effort to make something good, and then people conclude that your shit is AI. That sucks. Again, I don't have a solution. One thing that I can say though is that from a tactical perspective, I think that at this point, making videos is probably better than it was. Like, I would encourage you that if you have the ability, the time, the disposition to do so, it might end up being that you find more rewarding making videos than writing blog posts, because videos have well, I mean, there's AI slop on YouTube and videos as well. Um, but I think it's not yet at the same level as it is with blog posts. So if you make a video talking about your stuff, I was about to say more people will watch it. That's not necessarily true because people tend to read blog posts more easily than they tend to watch videos. But at least, well, I don't know. Maybe you can find more gratification in doing that. Maybe, maybe. Let's see. You still link to your Twitter account that's quite dead from your Twitch account, right? I mean, works for me. Oh wait, from your Twitch account. Oh wait, is this no, this is still twitter.com. Yeah, I don't know. I need to update my socials. Honestly, I don't care about Twitter anymore. Okay, I'm not gonna make a long yap about this, but I honestly the moment that I'm gonna get to it, I think I'm gonna just delete all these references. Twitter. I'm actually curious to hear about what people think about this in chat, but to me, Twitter feels worthless at this point, and same with other comparable social media. Like, I sometimes open it because I kind of have to. Technically, it is part of my job, but I feel like the people arguing on it are just wasting their time. It's like I don't know. It's Twitter always was worthless. Maybe it could be, but whatever value might have been there, it's definitely not there anymore. Like I think it's seriously got significantly worse than it was in the past. Like to me, Twitter nowadays seems like slash dot. And I don't mean slash dot back when slash dot was a thing. I mean slash dot as slash dot was is now and was in modern times. So like worthless, meaningless, filled with old boomers that somehow didn't understand that the platform was dying, and then they just like uh got stuck there. So I don't care about Twitter. I think I understand less and less the motivations of people that still use Twitter and earnestly try to engage with it. And again, I say Twitter, but I personally mean it. I mean essentially the same with both Blue Sky, Mastodon, and whatnot. I just don't understand it anymore. So like, whatever. San Francisco Bay Area has ton of these people, the ones who think that there are tons of people chugging out amazing slop, and they all have each other's copium. Yeah, living there is like living a crazy dream. I got better feedback on my projects on the Discord. Yeah, I spent the last 3 months working on the UI library just to learn how they work, and during that time, I saw like 20 slop UI libraries pop up, all with similar architectures, and it was frankly very sad, even though I was not trying to make something amazing. Being a maintainer already sounded like hell. AI just made it so much worse. Being a maintainer is not too bad. I think. By the way, I think this is a good point. This is a good argument. I know how you can find plenty of examples of maintainers that point out how they burned out and whatnot. And I mean, obviously, the risk is there. But I firmly believe that ultimately it's they got themselves into that situation. Like if they had been more um if they had understood better what open source is, they would have learned how to not do that to themselves. Because generally speaking, I'm sure there might be some corner cases where things are more of a gray area, but generally speaking, nobody's forcing you to do open source. Like it's entirely your choice when you're just the maintainer of an open source project. And so um, you always have the option of saying, yeah, I'm doing it up to this point, and then I'm refusing to go past that threshold. So for example, when people say, oh, I'm getting a bajillion issues from users, and I can't keep up. Don't. The users can go fuck themselves. Like you have your projects, you're giving out for free. That's what the license says. And then as long as you feel like dealing with other people's issues, do it. And then when you don't. And but I know that there is this trouble where people feel like they are obligated to do it because because they're cloud chasers. Maybe they don't really realize it, but internally they are cloud chasers, so they're chasing that cloud and they want to have the biggest, bestest, most popular project ever. And so they chase that dream, or for whatever reason. But yeah, they're the ones doing it themselves. So I mean, for example, here contributor poker and the policy to ban AI is also based on us looking after ourselves. Case in point, somebody commented in this is a discussion that I had in another social platform, where somebody was telling me that they also considered banning AI from their project, but they ended up not doing it because they had um, I think it's because they were convinced of the argument that you can't 100% tell, and then why are you policing what people should be using or not? So in any case, they decided that it wasn't worth it banning AI contributions. But then what happened is that they started burning out, and when I say they, I mean plural they, meaning that I think that this ended up affecting more than one maintainer of that project. Um, when essentially they had, for example, a user that came in trying to tackle a non-trivial problem, starting with the help of LLMs, and then they had to kind of help and guide this person towards success, but they just couldn't fucking do it. And in the meantime, they had to read all the stupid answers that the LLM was giving to that user. They had to deal with all the slop code that made no sense that AI was generating. Now, again, this is not a value judgment on the LLM. Maybe, probably, let's even say, I am sure that the LLM, if had been used by somebody more experienced, would have been able to reach the desired goal. But this was a new contributor who just couldn't do it. And so at the end of that whole ordeal, the contributor was burned out, the maintainer was burned out. Nobody was happy with that situation. Plus, also, of course, the constant influx of crappy, sloppy PRs. So if that is your experience running your open source project, you have a legitimate reason to say that you want to ban AI contributions. Again, it doesn't have to be necessarily because you firmly believe that AI is bad and you hate progress and blah, 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 but it is a legitimate reason to stop the phenomenon if it is something that hurts you. Either that or you abandon the project, which is, obviously always a choice that you can make. So, yeah. I do free open source software to give back to everyone, but right now I'm mostly helping AI. At least it feels that way. Yeah, thanks, Loris. It's good to hear your thoughts at least. And the video idea is good. Honestly, I dropped Reddit, just been hanging out in the Zig Discord, and it was fine actually. Nice. It's called Envo for anyone wanting to check it out. It's just something I don't think about. You work on something for a long time and people you don't know to say it was an LLM. Yeah, this is 100% unfortunate. This is without doubt. This is maybe the most unfortunate thing of the current situation, because the same happens also to PRs. Like, we have the no AI policy, but then you have to make a guess when you decide to ban somebody because you think that they're using LLMs. There are plenty of cases where it's obvious, but there are also cases where maybe you make a mistake. Maybe the contributor just happened to be unlucky and they did the one thing that you immediately pattern match to being an AI thing. But the problem is that we have to, like, if you follow the reasoning and agree with the reasoning in this blog post, you realize that we have to do it. It's a survival thing. And so occasionally some people that just haven't done anything bad and end up caught in the middle. That is super unfortunate. Um, and I don't have a solution. Like one of the biggest unsolved issues with our current policy, and one of the things that Andrew um, is particularly unhappy with, is the fact that currently, whenever you see a new PR, you have to be more suspicious of a new contributor than you ever had to be before. Like you essentially you start your relationship with somebody else immediately with the wrong foot. It's it's a difference between a high trust versus a low trust society. Um, you kind of tend to want to live in a high trust society, um, but the current situation has lowered um, that for sure. Twitter having paid creators ruined it hard. Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck Musk did with Twitter. Like every single thing that he did was a fucking mess. But I personally still now ended up to a place where I just believe that the kind of changes that you have on this kind of social media are just not that good, and that we can do better. I don't have anything to show for it for now, but I do believe that we can do better. In the start of April, the maintainer of NeoVim 3-seater got fed up with abuse from people no AI needed, and just archived the whole thing. Oh, I remember seeing that exchange. Yeah. Somebody called him like a dum dum and said, "I dare you to quit" or something. Well, not these explicit words, but like the guy said, "Okay, I'll show you." Boom, archive the projects. Yeah. Um, I don't know. It's personally, I believe that that exchange shows that the NVIM 3-seater maintainer also was not living a balanced life. I think that if that person looked after themselves better, they they would not have been in a situation where one crap exchange with a user leads to that. I mean, it might seem rude, but like just right click ban the guy instantly. It's fine. Anyway, I have most of my projects still on SourceForge and Mercurial. It's a nice hurdle for LLM contributions. That might be an interesting trick. Yeah. Have you heard about Anthropic joining the Blender Foundation as a corporate patron for 250K? No, I didn't know. Why are they joining? Wait, why are they joining the Blender Foundation? Why are they not sponsoring the Zig Software Foundation? God damn it! So they are joining for 250K a year. That is so little. I mean, okay, for normal people that is not little, but you know, how did they even find a chunk of change that small in their pockets at Anthropic? Like, how were they even able to go below $1 million? So, Amy, serious talk. As somebody who I believe has a more positive outlook with regards to AI than I probably have, um, I don't know. Do you have any comment that you want to share? You don't have to if you don't feel like it. Don't worry. But if you do, I'm happy to hear. There was a good talk about burnout as a maintainer at Software You Can Love. Yeah, the one from Josh Wolfe. I forget the title of the talk, but yeah, the one about his compression library for JavaScript. But I mean, you know what? That is definitely a great talk. Uh, and I do think that ultimately, I don't remember if he argues that point explicitly. I think he does. But even if he doesn't, I think it's a reasonable conclusion from watching the talk. Um, like it's reasonable to conclude that the issues that he faced, absolutely real, but they all stemmed from um, having the wrong stance, the wrong approach with regards to his open source project. I am 99% sure that this is a point that he makes himself explicitly in the talk. I might be wrong, so I don't want to put words in his mouth. Um, but in general, that's what it is. Like, you know, if it is something that you're not forced to do because you have to eat, you know, or you get killed if you don't do it. If it's not one of those situations, consequently, every time you engage in one of those interactions and that interaction ends up being a net negative for you, it's essentially on you to either adjust the way in which you had the interaction so that it stops being a net negative for you, or you stop engaging, like you stop having that interaction in the first place. Obviously, it sucks that maybe you wish you could be able to do open source, you know, and never have stressful discussions with people and just, you know, be happy, hold hands, and just write code. That would be great. But you know, you in any case you have to adapt with the reality of things. I'll try to find the talk because I think it's good to link. Mm, man, I don't even remember how to find videos on my own YouTube channel. Maintaining your love for passion projects. This is the one. The worst thing about AI is that all anyone talks about anymore is AI. It has around all other signals and it's just plain boring. Yeah, I agree. Also, one thing that I find personally annoying um, is and people are guilty of it. I mean, you decide if you want to consider it a crime. I'll still use the word guilty. People are guilty of it also in the Software You Can Love Discord server. Um, in I don't know the last few months, there have been constant discussions about here's how I use AI. Here's how I use AI. Oh, I figure out, you know, here's how I wipe my ass. Here's how I wipe my ass. Oh, you want to know my trick for wiping my ass? Sure. Tell me your trick for wiping your ass. How do you do it? You hand from the front, from the back, standing on one arm. uh, yeah, it but in any case, what can you do? It's the thing that everybody is trying to wrap their head around at the moment. So such is life. Such is life. You know what? Here's what I do not find impressive. What I do not find impressive is shit like this. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah. So check this out. I'm gonna, you know what? Let's post music, and I'm gonna also enable audio for YouTube so everybody can enjoy it. How do you enable that? Sorry, I'm having a boomer moment because the the interface of OBS has changed, and now I have to learn how to use OBS again. Hmm. Oh, there we go. I found it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now everybody can hear. Bump up the volume. So check this out.
Software engineer or AI researcher, and you pay them $500,000 a year. We do that all the time. Yeah. Okay, this is happening all of the time. That $500,000 engineer, at the end of the year, I'm going to ask them how much did you spend in tokens, and that person said $5,000. I will go ape something else.
Yes. Right.
If that $500,000 engineer did not consume at least $250,000 worth of tokens,
this drives me nuts because this is like crypto scam talk. This reminds me of back when there was that interview of a guy that said, you know, when you buy an NFT, you have to buy two, one for the sentimental value and one which is the one that you are going to sell. It's like, well, and then you have these people acting like they're taking at face value that the guy who stands to gain the most than anybody else from you burning tokens looks at you and says, dude, if you have a $500K a year engineer, you gotta spend at least $250 for worth of AI on him, on them. There's just no other way around it. And then these guys are like saying, yeah.
I'm going to be deeply
of course.
Okay, and this is no different than one of our chip designers who says, guess what? I'm just going to use paper and pencil. I don't think I'm going to need any CAD tools.
Right.
God damn it. Why is this even something that people can do straight faced? Like, I wish we lived in a society where the moment you try to do this, you have everybody laughing at your face. Like from the guy behind the camera to every single spectator. Like everybody should laugh at your fucking face if you try to say this. I don't know. And also, by the way, you know what? There's another layer that makes this funny. Man, has anybody downloaded NVIDIA drivers recently? It's like 1 gigabyte worth of garbage. The thing is user hostile every step of the way, tries to install all kinds of bloatware that it can. So like, it's not like your 500K engineer a year is pushing out any good code, my man. So why are you going out preaching for this? Anyway. Anyway, okay. So let me restore my settings and let's do some actual work. I'm still happy to yap. So let's yap, but I'm actually gonna do just a tiny little bit of work in the meantime. So what is the current state of things? So also for people interested in Awebo, Awebo is now in a kind of a problematic situation because the translate C regressions has hit us hard. Actually, those have hit all my projects hard because Zine depends on a few C projects and they all regressed. And A Weibo also depends on C things either directly or indirectly, like the GUI library depends in turn on translate C and blah blah blah. And yeah, that is also not great. So that is a problem. And most importantly, here's the new problem that we are facing. Now that Translate C is a separate project, so if you're using at Translate C, hey, Borrow Checker, by the way, I raid you, by the way. Thank you for the raid. Hello, everybody. So welcome to the stream. In this stream, what are we doing in the stream? I don't know. In the stream, we are complaining, we're yapping about AI, and I'm creating issues for features that the Zig compiler has that have regressed. So if you're not familiar with Zig, go to ziglang.org. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe of this stream. Do the translate C regressions apply to C import in 016 already? Yes. No. They apply also to 016. So starting from 016, well, starting from some commit in 016 dev, Clang has been removed as a backend for Translate C, and now it's arrow CC only. Actually, let me be more precise. Now it's Translate C only. The way it works is that currently Zig 016 has a vendored copy of ROCC and not exactly a vendored copy of this repository here that I have open, but something close to. Like there is a built-in Translate C functionality in the build system. At Translate C, at C import has been removed. So I believe that in 016, you cannot use that anymore. I might be wrong. Actually, you know what? I think I'm wrong. I think it was cut in a 017 dev commit. Maybe somebody who also has that experience can correct me if I'm wrong. But in any case, at C import is getting deleted and has been deleted at the very least in the latest commits. Okay, so yeah. So 017, I know for a fact that recent master commit already doesn't have C import anymore. Then there's the Translate C inside of the build system. That one is also there temporarily, and it will be removed. And if you want Translate C, this is your Translate C. It's the Translate C package. And even today, this package has more options, has more customizability exposed through the API than what is in the build system. Because the build system is, again, I don't know the precise history of exactly what, I don't know the precise commit history, but I believe it's either an old copy of this. But in any case, this repository has evolved and added more features that are not present in the Translate C API that you can access through the build system. So, long story short, if you want to, prepare yourself, if you want to avoid using deprecated stuff, you should be using this package here. And if you want the extra customizability options, you also want to use this package here. And if you want the latest fixes, you also want to use this package here. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that this is something that I brought up during a ZSF meeting, is that, this is a separate project that depends on ROCC, which is currently Vexus upstream repository. And the problem is that this guy is out of sync with the main compiler. So for example, Let me see if this got updated in the meantime. Do-do-do-do-do. For example, I think that this has not been updated yet. Like this project is not going to work with latest master branch because in latest master branch, because this project, or actually ROCC, so its dependency, uses stack fallback allocator, but in latest Zig, stack fallback allocator has been reworked and renamed. Stack fallback allocator previously was generic, and it would, you would pass to the type the number of bytes that you wanted the allocator to put on the stack, and so it was generic with regards to that number. Now the system has changed, where essentially that allocator accepts a buffer as the input. So not generically, like just the init function accepts a buffer as input, so that you can decide where you want to put the buffer, because it's now called buffer first allocator. Exactly. It was renamed to buffer first allocator because the buffer is not necessarily on the stack. So if you want the buffer to be on the stack, you put the buffer on the stack. If you want the buffer to be, whatever funky memory management system you decided to come up with, you can make it work with buffer first allocator. So what is the point? Okay, the point is that because of this breaking change, if you try to use translate C now with latest Zig, it's not going to work because this has not been updated yet. But here's the flip side of this problem. This project, and consequently also same with ROCC, needs also a branch that keeps compatibility with the latest tagged version of Zig, because otherwise you're not going to be able to use this. Or rather, in theory, you would be able to use the last commit that was compatible with 0.16. That's fine. But the problem is that there's 119 issues here of things that don't work, and you kind of want to unblock people. And so you want to give them a path so that they can unblock themselves. And if you just if you just tag a commit as being the last one that is compatible with 0.16, then anything that you fix afterwards, people that use 0.16 are not going to be able to use it. But then if people are using 0.17, 0.17 is always complicated because you always have to keep up, and you have dependencies that might be a bit behind or and whatnot. But then you also have this problem with regards to translate C and ROCC, which is, I think, it just adds even more extra friction. So, long story short, we're trying to find a way to obviously keep the deployment process of these projects reasonable, but also so that we can unblock people that have been that are currently blocked because of regressions. So that's the state of things. Last thing, I think that we might be at a point where we might want to, for a Weibo specifically, and sorry, I haven't done anything with regards to a Weibo in a while now, but I think that with a Weibo we want to stick with 0.16. I'm not sure that we want to keep chasing master branch anymore, because of this added difficulty to keep everything working. At the same time, with a Weibo we need to have some of the we need to be able to get some stuff fixed so that we can be unblocked. But I think that what we want is for a 0.16 compatible branch to keep having these fixes merged in without the changes that make this stuff build with latest master. Sorry, I said that in a very shitty way, but I hope you understand what I mean. So let's go complain about the stuff that doesn't work. Okay, in Zine, I made a directory called hacks precisely for containing all this stuff. So core foundation doesn't work. But I think that people have already pointed it out. There's a closed one. Oh, this one is about CF string H. And then Vexu closed it as a duplicate. LuaQL. Okay, so there is no issue with regards to core foundation specifically. At the same time, I think that core foundation might fail to translate because of Objective-C blocks, which is something that is already known. Like, it's an issue that has already been reported. Now, I wish I could test for this easily. I suspect that I might need to make a separate project. Let's call it C test. I don't know. Let's do a Zig init. And then we're going to build. Oh my God, there's so much garbage in here. I'm starting to regret this. I mean, this all makes sense. Yeah, I forgot that this is over bows. I mean, it makes sense for it to be this way. I just forgot. And we don't want a run step. We don't want a test step. Okay. So let's add our dependency to translate C. And then let's see what happens when we try to translate core foundation. Okay, I have a 017 Zig. I did fetch translate C. Perfect. Build.zig. Let's copy usage code. I think we want to put this stuff in here. Let's see. So translator. Yeah, this can also go here. Translate C with dependency. Yeah, put it there. Then we make this, and then we do mod.add import. There we go. Okay, so this gives root access to whatever we do here. This I think should be okay, fine. To translate.h. Let's keep it as that. So in here we do import core foundation.h. But then in here we need to do, actually, you know what? Let's see what happens when we run Zig build. I expect it to complain because we need to link with core foundation as a framework, unless it's one of those things that it's like linked implicitly. In the core foundation API stable, you can just translate C with 0.15 and commit the Zig files. That's what I've done. I don't know if you know this, but that's what that's what I have here. I think though that what you're saying is partially wrong, because it's not import. Oh, you're right, it's include. Thank you. Because there are some macros, I think, that depending on your system turn features on and off. Sorry, depending on which version of the OS you have, and then also uh, whether you're on ARM or not. So um, I think that in the case of Core Foundation, what you get out of this is, let's say, 90% correct, no matter what. Oh, I think also in good part because we, at the moment with Zine, we just don't care about x86 64 macOS anymore. But for example, for other things that aren't macOS specific, then it is a problem, right? Because look at what I have in here. I have a bunch of woofs for depending that change operating system and architecture, and this is still like not fully correct. This is like kinda correct. Okay, so yeah, I'm okay. We're seeing the stack fallback problem. Perfect. So let's do Zig up 0.16.0, and let's do Zig build with that. Invalid processing directive. Fair. Include fatal error. Core foundation not found. Perfect. Okay. So I think it's t dot link framework. ZLS. Hello. Oh, unfortunately, ZLS is not able to help us. Can I try to do mod.link framework? I think it's the same signature. Let's see if I'm right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, what's in translator? Okay, if translator can't link frameworks, that is an issue. Wait, is this the one that we were talking about? I think there's more than one thing called translator. Yeah, this is the, I think this is the one. Oh, wait. This is the one I was looking at a moment ago. And it is not it. Let's start from, what is it? Is it main? Okay, translator is import translator. Okay. You know what? I should stop using the web interfaces. I think I have a clone of this. libc framework, blah, blah. Add system framework path. Link library. There we go. So translator config. What can you do to a translator? Link library. Add object. Exposes any headers installed by obj to translate C. Add include path. Add system include path, add framework path, link system library. Define C macro. Hmm. Hmm. So link system library is what we want? Maybe. But why do we have usually a separate thing for frameworks? Hmm. So link system library, name and options. I don't know. Let's see if this works. I should not have closed the. This was late C source view. Package config for library core foundation. Wait a second. There is just no way we cannot link to a framework. Maybe link framework needs, but the problem is that link framework doesn't exist. Wait, maybe I typoed the name, but yeah, there's just no link framework. And I was looking at translate C source code. Uh, there's no link framework. There is link library. Okay, let's go from the top. Okay. Options. Name, C source file, target, optimize, link libc, warnings, module libs. Should libraries be imported as modules or installed? Should static functions be translated as pub? Should functions bodies be translated? Should literals that were expanded from macros be translated as uses of those macros? Should struct fields be default initialized? Control where to treat training array as flexible array member. Intent only for use by the translate C package itself. So links lib to t.mode. Oh, this calls t.mod stuff. You know what? It may be that maybe I'd include arg. I'd include arg. So you know what? Maybe this is how you do it. T-model link framework. Fatal error. Core foundation.h not found. Okay. Let's see if we can make progress there. Maybe I got the path wrong. Maybe it's core foundation / core foundation.h. Oh, yeah. Okay, now it works. Okay. So far, so good. Now let me think. Can I? How complicated is? How complicated would it be to see if we can make this work with Zine? I think this is doable. So Okay, I'm gonna leave this project here then for a moment. Let's go back to Zine. Let's see how we're doing. Zone file. Do we have translate C in here as a dependency? No. Okay, so we need to start essentially from scratch. So, I mean, let's do the work and see where that leads us. So I guess maybe what happened is that the problem that I was having was with the built-in translate C, and maybe it turns out that that is not as much of a problem with the standalone package that probably contains more fixes. Um, so now where do I put that header file for translation? I'm tempted to create c.h in here. I just touch c. Actually no, f c.h. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be the first one. Build.zig. Okay, so this is the actual build. Now let's redo this work again. Target optimized version flags. Zine executable with main. Huh. Traces, scopes, options, scripty. Oh, and here we're doing a bunch of other things. Hello, Enrico. Oh, there we go. Here's the funky woofs handling. Okay, let's put this stuff in here. You know what? That actually reminds me. It is a little bit more complicated actually than what we are making it look like right now. Oh no. Because here's the problem. I want Core Foundation on macOS? I certainly do. But if we're not on macOS, um, we don't want Core Foundation. So how do we solve this? Do we put? Are we supposed to put macros in the to use macros in the header file? I don't think there's a more straightforward way, right? I mean, I guess we could have different versions of this depending on the target. But that's a pain. That is a pain. Yeah, I think the answer is macros. Okay. But for now, let's do it like this. Let's just make it work for one platform, then we'll think about it later. And then we do add import. What do we call it? See? And then it's gonna be t.mod. Okay, let's see how this goes. Let's see if we can Zig build at all. And then we need to swap out usage. Do we have a competing import named C? I don't think we do. Huh. Okay, we survived the build step. So next is this. Why was I grabbing core services and now it became core foundation? Huh. Huh. Well, okay, let's see how this goes. How do you like this? Your source file C does not have passive event stream context. Yeah, I yeah. Well, I mean, let's add core services into our header file and see what happens. Fatal error. AE not found. Um AE not found. But first of all, we need to link against this stuff, don't we? We didn't do this inside of T, I mean. Although I do suspect that saying that you link to core foundation is redundant because I think that it's one thing that you link against automatically by default. Then, oh yeah, you know what? I think the core foundation isn't it essentially the libc. I think it like doubles as both things. Anyway, core services. Actually, I think somewhere we have all the things that the frameworks they want to link against. Oh yeah, and also look, we also probably want to do this as well. Like we want to do all these things also for the C import thing. Okay, let's see where this gets us. Okay, we still have the problem that we don't know where to find ae.h, which I don't know what that is. Let's make this more correct though. So move the translator stuff here. Cut this in here, but also do this. Oh yeah, look, we were linking against core services already. Okay, let's see. So this basically, this change makes us use the lazy dependency. Add library path. There is no add library path. Um, add system library path. I suspect that if possible, It's also mod. Yeah, let me double check though, because I think that the ones that are exposed externally are the ones that. Oh, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I think we don't care about library path. Yeah, it's probably also mod, but I suspect that it's something that we just do not care about because I might be wrong, but I think this is for linking, right? We are just translating headers, so this might be a thing that has essentially does nothing. I think it might be a setting that has no influence whatsoever. Okay, this is cool. So now we still have the same problem. We don't know what the fuck that is. Um, but now we are looking at core services from our vendor dependency. Well, vendor, from our own dependency rather than looking into the system one. So this is good. Uh, so why don't we have ae.h? So what's ae.h? First of all, is ae.h mentioned in these issues? Maybe. No. Attribute type def? No. These are also other reductions. What the heck is... Oh, stupid browser. After Effects. Frameworks AE. Okay, so it's just a different framework. What the heck is that? Event Manager. macOS programming. We're just trying to wrangle some issues with translating C headers, and I'm currently doing macOS ones, but it's temporary. Event Manager. Okay. So here's the question though: why was this not a problem before? Why is this a problem now? I do not have an answer for this, but I guess we can do this. Oh, still complaining. So why is this? Why is this irrelevant? Well, I guess one thing that we can try to see is um, uh, if we have a at all. Yeah, does it work at all? That is indeed a good question. Let's double check. So AE is not listed in here. Although let's go into core services. Let's go inside core services just to see what's in there. Oh, there's AE in here though. I think, but look at this. This guy is here inside core services. I suspect that this might be an issue with how these paths are being resolved by translateC. Again, this was not an issue before. And also, I was getting this error also before I switched to using Xcode framework. So I was getting this error also from my own system dependencies. Well, system libraries. So AE is there. It's just inside the inside Core Foundation. Also, let's go up. What do we have in include? I think include has nothing good for us. Yeah, this does not matter, I think. So you don't want to do this. Yeah. I mean, so a framework apparently contains other frameworks. So this contains core services.h, but then if you go up, yeah. So here's my guess. My guess is that frameworks have like a recursive nature where a framework can contain other frameworks. And when you import the top level framework, you should automatically import also, or, at least somehow make available some of the sub frameworks. And this is not happening. I might be wrong. I don't know. But this seems to be the problem. So let's make a repro for it. So um, here's a question though. Why are we hitting this here? And why are we not hitting this in the test project? So here we have core foundation.h. I think the problem is that the code is not using this thing at all. I think we need to go in root.zig and try to use some definition from there. Also, you know what? I'm realizing that I should have not used Zig in it. This made a project more complicated than it needs to be. So let's remove main.zig. How does this work? What do we have in here? Oh, we have mod with root. Okay, no, you know what? We don't do this. We do exe.root module. We do the opposite. We kill root, and instead we keep. Oh, here's what's missing. Core services. There we go. That, I think that explains what's going on. And actually, I think the core foundation can just even straight up go. I'm running Zig init again because this will recreate main. Let's remove root.zig. Let's change main. What do we do? What do we make main do? You know what? I don't know. main prints the above and calls it a day. Let's see, there's also a problem with target conditionals that needs to be fixed in Arrow. I'm working on a PR. Okay. So let's see how we're doing. I hope to be getting the ae.h error now. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so now this is a reasonably sized repro of the problem. Perfect. So let's push this somewhere. Actually, let's search for frameworks. This is the one that was closed. Okay, let's make a repository that we can use as a repro. Why am I logged out of Codeberg? Right. Please don't steal my two-factor code. Actually, I think that if I don't initialize the repository, I can do git init on my end. Oh yeah. Whoops. Do-do-do-do-doom. What was it? Git init. Git switch main. Oh, we're already on main. And we need to add a remote and push. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I tried in here in not in the repro repository, but I tried it in Zine, I think. Okay, I don't have it anymore, but look, I can try now. I believe it does not work. And also, yeah. So, still the error is still present. You know what? I should maybe point it out. Okay, so well, this is one problem. So that means that I can now, so to do the rest of the stuff, I think I want to also do woofs. Yeah, why does woofs fail? I think that is the next one that we want to test. Um oh god, I don't know if that last thing created source or not. Uh I did. Awesome. I'm a genius. So with this, what we can do with this, we want to create to translate.h. We don't want to link it to any framework, but we do want to use woofs. So how are we using woofs in Zine? Probably want to start from here to copy those lines. Then little Zig. I think it's a. I think woofs is exposed as an artifact, isn't it? Oh, there's a module. I think that is a new addition that I made purposely. Let's take a look at the woofs repo. Okay. So yeah, there's a module. There's a library. Mm, this fails. So that's why I was using the impl module. I'm just gonna do add library. Link library. This is gonna work. It's better when argument found two. Okay. He's gonna complain that it's ambiguous. Right. That sucks. That should not be like this. Um, you know what? I think we can bypass this whole thing completely and just try and just grab this path from our dependency and call it a day. So in here, we don't do to translate.h, but we do woofs.path. What was it? Release c woofs. Let's see. No link library at all. Easy. File hash not found. What did I bungle? Release woofs dash 0.4 point C. Oh shit. Oh right, because that is the dependency. Okay, there we go. We have solved the mystery. Uh, okay, there's a bajillion issues. Okay, translate C itself fails. Holy cow. I forgot what the keybind is to go immediately to the start of the input. But how big could this be, right? 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 Oh, okay. Okay, we failed successfully. Uh, oh. Okay, and with this we have the second repro. So new repository. You did. That is good. Wait, how did you get past the translate C failures then? Did you translate headers manually and like hard code them as zig files manually and or using 015? Oh, you did extern. Yeah, right. That is a very good point. I mean, you can always extern, right? Yeah. I'm stating it's a runtime crash, but uh, I should look at the top of it before I make this statement. Zig build to greater than foo. Wait, isn't that a thing? Oh no, I typoed Zig build. I mean, it is similar. It took too little time. Anyway, I think we need to run into your frameworks issue because our Xcode frameworks package sets a system framework class, include path, and a library path. Um, I don't think this is the case because in the repro I was using system dependency, so I was doing it like the easy way. But in Zin, I am properly using these things, and although to be fair, wait, I am not doing system framework path and stuff. I'm doing add framework path and library path. Ah, you're right. We're not doing the system stuff. Wait a second. Where is this? So okay, I don't need this anymore. 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 Let's see. Add framework path. Add system framework path. So, so you're saying that the correct usage of this would be to use system framework path. Is there add system framework path in here? There is. You know, I am not entirely clear on the difference of the nuance between the two versions, but I can try at the very least. So we can do this. So this still complains. This still complains, and it's now using the system stuff. Wait, I expect this to pick up the dependency. So wait. By changing this to system, it uses my system stuff before using what's in the dependency. What? I'm confused now. System paths take lower priority. So are you saying that I should be doing both things? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I assume that that's what you did. I was trying to understand how to make this work with the dependency. So we do it twice? No, but it will still be lower priority, wouldn't it? Ah, you know what? Fuck it. We can try. Whatever. Hmm. Okay. It's not clear to me what's going on. That's fine. Okay, where was the woofs error? I closed woofs, but I want to see what's in foo. Okay, now foo is full with errors. What does it say? ACLE intrinsic support not enabled. I should also say what the target is. Okay, so this would be it for Zin. I don't think I have anything else in here. Yeah, it's Wolves and Core Foundation. Let's take a look at the Weibo. Oh man, I wish the Julian was still here. Now with a Weibo, I think that it's probably better for him to come back and for me to ask, because I don't even remember where I put the workarounds. I think it's in client and then media has something. Uh, what's in macOS? So we have core audio. I think this is it. I think it's just core audio that fails. I think interestingly, core audio might be failing, um, but might be not for the same reason that core services fails. Although I don't remember. Let's see. Add system framework path, add system include path, add library path. But are you using Translate C as a separate package? You don't seem to be using that. Yeah. Okay. In any case, sorry. Thank you for the context. That makes sense. I'll try to keep that in mind. Um, but if you're using what's in the build system, I don't even know what the relationship it is anymore between that code and what's in the Translate C package. So yeah. Okay. So I could make an issue also for core audio, but you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I think at this point this is fine. The reason why I'm not doing it is because I don't plan to just open these issues and call it a day. I plan to get help from Veka and uh, well, work on these things myself if it's not too complicated. So I guess my hope at this point is that whatever whatever Corauto needs. Hopefully, it's not complicated, so maybe I can do it on my own or something. Maybe not. We'll see. Uh, this was it. This was really it. I don't think I have anything else, any other regression that I experienced. I think Triciter does not have any problem. I think Triciter translates fine. I'm not even sure I'm using headers from Triciter at all. Maybe yes. But those seem to be fine. In any case, so far so good. So this is it. This is it in terms of the work that I wanted to do. Next step is well, trying to steal some free time from Veka and get some coaching. So it does not use Translate C. There we go. Uses trees. Oh, so trees. Oh, you're right. Trees has all the externs, right? That makes sense. Now that I think about it, I think that I don't have an issue with Opus because I think I'm using externs with Opus as well. Might be wrong though. Anyway, um, so so far so good. Anyway, I think I'm done with the main work. I don't know if anybody has any more things to bring up with regards to contributor poker. I'm happy. I'm happy to yup. We can go. We can go check out what's going on with the discussion on Ziggit. Only two G's. And that is it. Do, 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 do. Mm, 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 mm. I was at an indie dev meetup. Sorry, there's the whole thread, but I already read it, so I'm not gonna read it again. I was at an indie dev meetup a while ago, where one of the talks was showcasing a prototyping tool for AA style games. Oh, double A? I mean, it makes sense if there's triple A, then I guess double A means so single A is something like what? Undertale? And then double A is something like at this point I don't even know. What's it called? Fury. Number of A's represents budget. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Uh but okay, but how much budget is double A then? A ballpark. So I'm guessing single A means you don't have a budget. Triple A means that you have a few millions that were invested in the development of the game at this point. Double A is tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. And for 2 million probably for double A. Okay. A key part of such tool is the inclusion of prefabricated assets, of course. The first question after the talk was if said assets were AI generated. The entire room went up in applause when the answer was no. Huh. I wonder if those who try to argue for the use of generative AI in spaces that currently do not allow it understand that tech has a horrible reputation with non-insignificant amount of people, and that they would awfully call peers. If you truly care about community, why not just respect those wishes until such a time that hopefully the real and justified misgivings about the tech are addressed in a positive way? I don't know. I think there's an angle to this whole AI thing that people don't discuss much, which is about democratization of access to the ability to make things. That comes with pros and cons, but people don't tend to talk about it much. I guess probably in part because there's the bajillion, multi-billion uh, big tech companies that mainly produce these AI models. OpenAI, Anthropic, etc. But let me put it this way. Um, there used to be a time where if you wanted to have um uh oh man, I'm forgetting an English word. Give me a second. Yeah. Okay, I had it right. Okay, so if you wanted to have good furniture at home, right? You wanted to have a good desk, a good bed, a good cabinet thing where you put plates in, whatever. There used to be a time where you had to spend a lot of money to have something, period. And I remember when it used to be like almost a generational stuff, like you would inherit from the previous generation, one good desk. And then over time, you had enough good pieces of furniture to have one good room in your home. And there's a town near where I live that is famous for being a town where there were a lot of artisans that would make these things. Now, this is not the case anymore. The town essentially has lost that. That I mean, they still have it written on the sign when you enter the town, but I mean, now you have IKEA, right? And IKEA and things similar to IKEA. Um, I think it is a good thing that you can have a reasonably fine desk and cabinet and whatever bought from IKEA, which is not going to be as good looking, as fancy as the one that the artisans used to be able to make. Um, but man, it is okay for more people to have access. to this stuff. I'm even thinking about oh man, do you guys say, what do you call it? Dote. Oh, dowry, of course, dowry. Like the whole concept of dowry is the same, right? I remember back when families used, like the daughter of family used to have a dowry, where she would have they would make sure to prepare when she was younger enough pieces of not exactly clothing, but like bed sheets and whatnot, um, because it was stuff that you should have, but that it was expensive and you just couldn't get it easily. Well, nowadays, thank God, I don't know what everybody's experience is in chat, but at least in my experience, dowries are not a thing that you care about anymore, and I think that's good. Of course, that comes with the con that the bed sheets that you get might not be as nice as the ones that would be normally included in a dowry. And there's a lot of, I don't know, issues with also how textile products are created. But still, I don't know. I think that the existence of stuff that is not as good, like to me it feels like, to some degree, while I agree obviously that higher quality stuff is nicer than lower quality stuff, and that is not there is not a debate. On the other hand, man, you don't want only the people that can afford, you don't want to be in a situation where there used to be a time where, oh, now everybody can eat meat, when there used to be a time where only some of us were able to eat meat, and the butcher would come and give you the piece of meat wrapped in a silk cloth. Eh, I think it's good that meat doesn't come in silk cloth, pieces of cloth anymore, and then instead you buy it from a you get it plastic wrapped, and more people can afford that. So I don't know. I've seen people who have never made a game before and would have never been able to get the free time in life to do so because of work, make games, not for others, but for themselves, using it to learn how to make games. It's not perfect, it's seriously flawed, but it does democratize access. I think that is the same in the spirit of stuff like, is it called Game Maker? I'm thinking of, these tools that you can use to make simple 2D games. It's obviously the result of using, I'm assuming it's called Game Maker, I don't remember for sure if that is the name, but let's say that it is. The result of using Game Maker is obviously not super high quality, but there are entertaining Game Maker games that I personally have found entertaining, while the entire game is essentially entirely made up by what was the word? Entirely made up with prefab assets. If you want an example, I can actually bake my claim with a concrete example. There's this one, the witch's house. Oh, I typed it. This one, I think they remade it, and they remade it like higher quality or whatever. But the original, I mean, they're selling it for 15 euros now. Holy shit! But the original was a free game that you can still find it around. It's a free game, and I think it's Game Maker. And again, if it's not Game Maker, it's another Game Maker like thing. So this one is a genuinely entertaining game, and it is what it is. It's not silk wrapped, but it is a thing. I could definitely think of more examples going forward, like if I put some time, but I think this is enough. At least it's proof of existence. It doesn't democratize if the costs of the services continue to increase. I mean, that is fair. It is true that that you know big investments make these companies do essentially behave. They essentially behave like venture capital baked in companies. I mean, maybe that's what they are as well. I don't know. Um, but yeah. So for sure, they suck. But then I think it's a separate concern, right? This is a legitimate concern, but it is separate from saying, you know, in a sense, it's almost a classist thing, right? Because you say, well, I can afford the super good thing. How dare these peasants try to enjoy the less fancy version of it? Why they right? Anyway, Julian, are you still around? Sorry, I realized just now that you were back. Okay, so question for you. Um, what is currently failing to translate with Awebo? So I saw that I have a quote unquote well, I have a pre-translated core audio file. What else is failing? Also, what about like the VUI? Is everything fine there? Sorry, I'm asking you because I'm not super up to date, and I saw that you did some work, so I'm assuming that at this point you know better than me what the state of these breakages is. I mean, an overview issue. Oh man, that is such a good idea. Why did I not think of that? Holy shit, this is so good. By the way, thank you very much for looking after this stuff while I was unavailable. Okay, so here's the only problem that remains for me. I'm colorblind, and it's not super easy for me to know to see which ones of these are green or red. Okay, so I think this is red, this is red, this is red, right? So FFmpeg is borked. libvaxis is borked, but I think Neurosite mentioned working on it. Okay. libvaxis is 016 clean. Okay. Oh, right, because this is also 016 dependency, not necessarily translate C stuff. Okay, thank you. This is amazing work, and it's definitely going to be a good starting point for me. Thank you very much. Awesome. Man, what a pleasure. What a pleasure working with you guys. So I think I'm going to call it a day here. Sorry for the stream not being super long, but again, I need to. It's hard for me to jump into super long streams right away. I can get to those, but I need to like get in the mindset of it. So I'm gonna stop here, and I don't know. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna stream every single day because I have also some other non public facing stuff to do. But yeah. Last thing, especially for Julian, do I remember correctly that you're from Munich, right? So I don't know if you care, or rather, maybe this is something that we can organize uh, separately. But there's this event, Big Tech Day. So it's Big Space Tech Day, and I'm speaking at Big Tech Day, which is in Munich. And agenda. So there you go. Here it is. This is gonna be on. Oh, you're not from Munich. Okay, sorry. I remember that some people were from Munich. So like, I think David Sugar is. I think there's some more people. Sorry, I assume you would be too. I don't know why. In any case, so this is the 22nd of May. Um, I didn't try to synchronize with Zigging Nuremberg to see if we could do something together. But also the way that my travel is going to work out, I don't think it's something that we can really do easily. But I think there's a chance that on the 23rd, I'll be just available for essentially the whole day in Munich, because I think that my return flight is like at 10 p.m. So because of that, I don't know. Maybe we could have a get together for people that are around there. In any case, well, I'll post more info once I know more. Yeah. So this is it, everybody. Enjoy. Have a nice day. You know what? I think I'm gonna be lazy and not doing any rating. But see you next time for more yapping and more, I don't know,